Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas from the Slowpoke. Well, right, so you caught me giving my family all their presents, but don't worry, I thought about you as well. I've got you at home. Loads of deck lists for you to copy and paste straight into TCGO and get started with. So let's have a look. Cheers! This is the next Slowpoke World list drop, baby. Here's my present from me to you. Well, remember, all these deck lists are going to be in a spreadsheet in the description, okay? Along with credit to where I got some of these lists from, because not all these lists are mine. I'm not that clever, unfortunately. I just, you know, got some for you guys to enjoy. But I'll shut up now, though. Sam's going to be on his way and get the present to you. So here are the lists for you to enjoy. Right then, so let's get started with ClayDP. A very try and get Ultra Creation off a full value on turn 1 going second. So what we do, you play Clay, discard top 7 cards of your deck, and you can put any item cards into your hand. So the idea is we ferry energy into the discard pile, we get energy switch, metal saucer into our hand straight away, and then we can just boof, go off with the Ultra Creation very, very fast. Is it the best ADP variant? Probably not. Is it the most explosive? Probably. It's actually pretty nutty. So there is ClayDP. So next up we've got ADP Persian, which I know is a variant that Stefan Ivanov really likes. So the idea is here is that we set up this Persian GX as early as possible so we can use the Catwalk ability. Once during a turn, if one of your EX or GX Pokemon was knocked out, you can put 2 cards into your hand. The idea is, as soon as your ADP goes down, you basically get 2 computer searches, which can find you all sorts. Can find you your Aerodactyl if you need, or your Aerodactyl VMAX if you choose to play it. It can find you, like, you know, Saucer combinations, Great Catcher, Leon, so you can reach over the top of some threats, or even just bosses. Super cool. And anytime you give ADP the ability to search 2-3 cards in a game, pretty bonkers. So yeah, there is ADP Persian. And then we got a pretty much straightforward down the middle ADP list here. This is just pretty much as consistent as you can possibly get. 4 Zacians, no Zamazenta, 4 energy switch, you know, all the good stuff. So you can still try and pop off and get the turn 1 GX attack, but you still got stuff like Big Charm, Tool Scrappers, you know, all this stuff to fall back on that can help you in any other matchups, really. So yeah, this is probably my best deck in format and my favorite deck to play, unfortunately. Yes, I'm an ADP scrub. Deal with it. Okay, next up, let's get some Lucmetal variants. This is Lucmetal Gears, this is. So the idea is here, we still use Zacian as our main attacker, obviously. But now we use Lucario Melmetal, the full Metal Wall GX to make our metal type take 30 less damage from attacks and discard the rest of our energy from our opponent's active. So we just turn into a big Denial-S stall deck, really. Metal Goggles puts us at minus 60 damage. Zamazenta is such a clutch card in this meta. And Zacian still does 230 for free. And we play stuff like Malolana, you know, all this consistency stuff, Polka Dots, so it can be really irritating and be super strong at the same time. Super strong archetype, for sure. If you want to take it even more disruptive, you can play Lucmetal with Hammers, the same exact shell, except now you play Chaotic Swallow Stadium, and you play 4 Crushing Hammers. And what these are going to let you do, well, on a coin flip, discard one of your opponent's energy, really. Super disruptive. It only really takes one of these to be heads in a game for it to be super impactful for the most part, and you play 4. So when you're a deck that's so disruptive and so tanky, being able to just throw out these hammers every now and then and get a couple heads is pretty disruptive and pretty gnarly, if you ask me. Okay, next up we've got Lucmetal Stamp and Plant. One of my favourite ways to play Lucmetal, not gonna lie. So it's pretty much the same normal shell as the rest of them. No hammers though. But what we're gonna really lean into, as soon as this Lucario Melmetal goes down, right, we want to Power Plant our opponent, okay, and then stamp them to 3 cards in hand. Ideally coming in with a big Brave Blade to KO their active, or an Assault Tackle. So you're forcing your opponent to have a lot of stuff off a 4-card hand, or 3-card hand I should say, with Power Plant in play. We do play 4 Marnies here as well, so we can get pseudo and reset stamps for the whole game. This might be my favorite way to play Lucmetal Zacian. This. And then if you're not really sold on any of them, here, let's have a halfway house version. Let's play a sort of cover all bases Lucmetal. This one plays the Finny, so you can help you the Baby Clowns matchup. Don't know how much it really helps, but there you go.
So yeah, this way you play a couple Pokegears, a little bit of Disruption, Tool Scrapper, Coaxar, all that good stuff. This is like the halfway house version. If you want to learn how to play Lucmetal for the first time, might be more impactful or better for you to play this one first. Okay, next up we got Dragapult VMAX Gengar. Homebrew Slowpoke. Well, baby, hit the mic there, I apologise. The idea is with this, we're going to get our Dragapult VMAX C20 HP VMAX Pokemon, turn him into an absolute unkillable monster. Max pattern, so we're doing 2 for 130 and spreading 5 damage counters around your opponent's benched Pokemon, right? So the idea is we're just spreading damage with 2-shot on most things, but in combination with Gengar, which lets us move damage counters from our Psychic Pokemon all around, right? So the idea is we can start, you know, move them all onto a bench Dragapult V, and then you can use stuff like Wind and Stadium to heal off the 100. We've got stuff like Indeedee to act as a backup attacker whilst also healing another 20. So yeah, that's the idea. And basically, if you can get this Dragapult to stick around for like 3 turns, 3 Max Phantoms wins you most games, or 4, you know, for the most part. It's a really strong attack. So the idea is here, we're just going to do that as much as possible and not let our opponent take any prizes. Here's another way to play Dragapult VMAX, probably the better way, in all honesty. Dragapult VMAX Clefable. The idea is when you evolve Clefable, you can get an energy attached from your opponent's active and put it to the top of their deck. So you know what they're top decking, which is pretty nice, and you're moving energy at the same time. In combination with Crushing Hammer, you can really just start energies flying off your opponent's board. And similarly to the other one, we're still just, you know, 2-shotting most things and putting 5 damage counters on our opponent's bench. Pretty gnarly. And pretty strong and pretty disruptive. This actually has a semi-decent win rate against Eterntaus if you can really make use of Giratina as well. Pretty nuts. Right, so here's some non-GX spice. We're going to lead into Aerodactyl here. Stage 1 Pokemon with a Fossil Fanged attack. For 3 energy, you do 90 plus 90 if you've got no EX or GX Pokemon in play. So here's the idea, right? We're not going to have any EX GX in play for the most part. 2-shot everything. We've also got Hard Time / Golisopod to fall back on, funnily enough, which does 30 plus 50 for each V or GX your opponent has in play. Pretty gnarly non-GX attackers, right? We've got Jirachi Engine to fall back on. We have Research Lab to get the Aerodactyl into play. Got an Aerodactyl GX in case we need it. It's really an awesome ability where your opponent's active attacks cost a colorless more. And Wild Dive GX 50 for each energy your opponent's got attached. Pretty nice. Just be careful though, if you get out that Aerodactyl or the Crobat, it turns off your Aerodactyl until they're knocked out. So be careful, but a really strong non-GX archetype for sure. Okay, from one non-GX deck to another, and this is probably the strongest one in format, Blacephaleon GX. For 3 energy Fireball Circus, there's 50 for each fire you discard from your hand. Unlimited damage cap. This Blacephaleon deck can just one-shot anything in format, and it does it multiple times in a game. Pretty scary. So all you want to do, all the deck is built around getting 5 energies in the hand and destroying stuff. 4 fire crystals, 2 energy achievables, 4 giant heart. Super scary, super strong. Probably the best non-GX deck in format right now. Okay, on to my favorite way to play Centiskorch. Centiskorch Net. So we're going to lean into Jirachi. We get used to Giratina now, because we are playing Scoop Up Net Engine. This is going to let our Centiskorch be a little bit more consistent. You know, we can remove prizes if needed to try and improve our prize race by Scoop Up Necking Volcanion when we don't need them and stuff like this. Yes, with Bird Keeper, we've got Dubwool to pull back on. Obviously, Centiskorch is 40 plus 40 for each fire energy attached, and you can attach one from discard after calculating damage. So the idea is you're just going to build 2 Centiskorches that's super strong to throw out a lot of damage, or build up a super strong Centiskorch that takes like 4 fires on his own, and then you can just clean up with Dubwool afterwards. Seems pretty good, really. If you're not convinced with that version, plays Centiskorch though, here's the greens one. The idea is now using Magneton to knock ourselves out, get 3 supporters into our hand, play them, so Surge in combination with greens, Research, double Welder or Welder plus Boss, to really turn this GMAX Centinferno into a lot more of a targeted cannon that can attack your opponent wherever you want, really. Worth noting, we play 4 of the Flare Style Volcanions as well, and we're a greens engine here, so we can be a lot really consistent and really pick apart our opponent's board. Really strong for sure. Okay, on to one of my favourite decks in format. It's a deck that I've actually played a whole lot of, including the single prize OPOP League Week. Got ourselves Cinderace, the non-GX, non-V one. The Libero ability, 170 HP stage 2 Pokemon. When you move this Pokemon to the active, you can get 2 fire energies from your discard pile and attach them to this Pokemon. And you do 190 for 3, discard 2. So the idea is now that you can get a loop of these Cinderaces going in combination with these Psycho energies. Upon knockout, you can just promote Jirachi, evolve another Cinderace, search, retreat, scoop up, all that good stuff. Back into the next Cinderace, bang 190, bang 190, have a really favourable price trade. ADP is still a bit rough, but everything else, you can two-shot literally everything else in format, and it's quite scary. So yeah, Cinderace V, non-V I should say. Don't sleep on it. If you're not a fan of playing musical chairs, then here, how about, but you like Cinderace still, how about Cinderace VMAX? VMAX Pokemon V20 HP with a counter attack, really interested. 30 plus any damage you took last turn, you can add on to this attack. So if you took 100 damage last turn, you can do 130 for 2. It's okay. Obviously nothing can one-shot it, so being able to playing into your opponent's 2 shots and hitting them back harder can be quite nice. And if your opponent starts trying to get clever with it, max power 5 will does just enough damage to do 2 shots. So that's pretty interesting. There's probably a lot better border decks to play, but you know, if you practice a few of these, you know, heat fire energy, you can make them quite tanky. So yeah, Cinderace VMAX. Okay, next up we've got the big bad scary Pokemon from Vivid Voltage, Coalossal VMAX. 330 HP Pokemon, absolutely colossal, pardon the pun, amount of HP. And damage can be thrown out too. Eruption Shot, really interesting attack. 40 plus 90 if you discard top card of your deck and it happens to be an energy, right? So here's the idea. In combination with Iron Guru, you can get an energy from your hand, put it to the top, Eruption Shot, bang. Oh, and I should say, it actually attaches the energy as well. So you can build towards the G-Max Boulder, which is 240 flat. Pretty good. You play a Surf Farfetch V to get around, what's that Pokemon called? Zamazenta. And you got Jirachi and Mage to help you keep ticking over. But this HP, right, in combination with buff padding, and then the stone fighting energy, because it doesn't say anything about being basic energy on a Eruption Shot, which means you take 20 less from your opponent's attacks, means your Coalossal is going to be staying around the board a long time, let me tell you. So this is an incredibly strong deck. If you like Primal Groudon back in the day, you'll probably like this. Coalossal VMAX. Right then, so here's some Porygon Z action, baby. Got ourselves Porygon Z, stage 2 Pokemon, 130 HP with the awesome ability Crazy Code, which lets you attach as many special energies from your hand to your Pokemon in a turn, right? So here's the idea. You can use Cramorant V now, right? In combination with Long View Scope, can do 190 to the bench, well, to your opponent's V Pokemon and GX, right? So here's the idea. Bow Danays, Bow Crobat, la 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 la. And then late games come with a big scary Dubwool, pile on a powerful energies and all that stuff on him and say, right, bish bash bosh, game over. It's a stage 2 Pokemon, don't get me wrong, but it's hella fun when it works, let me tell you. Cramorant, Dubwool, Porygon Z. Here's a slightly different way to play that deck that we just talked about, right? So the idea is still the same, where we use Cramorant to, you know, KO bench Pokemon. But the idea is if we KO 2 Dedenays, or any combination of Dedenays and Crobats, 2 of them in total, we can just pile on the energy then onto a NagaGuzz, which for 3 energy does Chaotic Order, and basically just takes 2 prizes. Pretty cheeky way to play the game, but it's actually really fun when it works. And Cramorant sometimes just win you games. Beat, catch, spit shot, you know what I mean? And then Chaotic Order. Pretty fun. It's like a long-winded, you know, ADP, AC boss type deal, right? And NagaGuzz is still a decent attack in its own right, doing 180. Pretty fun. Right, now as sad as it makes me to say this deck just won't go away. Decigoons. The idea is Decidueye, right? Deep Forest Camo ability. Basically can't take damage from your opponent's GX or V Pokemon, right? So you can just use Splitting Arrow until the cows come home. Some decks have outs though, like Volcanion, right? In the Welder deck. So here's the idea. To anything that Decidueye cannot KO, or well, anything that Decidueye doesn't wall, I should say, Obstagoon does. With the Obstruct ability, you do 90 damage, and then you can't get hit from basic Pokemon. So the idea is between the two, you can lock out pretty much every deck in format, apart from Aegislash V, that is. And yeah, this is the deck. Super boring to play in my opinion. Really high skill ceiling there. And if you like those sort of wally decks that are highly rewarding, this might be the deck for you, not gonna lie. Here's another way to play Decidueye though. If you just want to go all out Decidueye, you can play with the Snorlax, right? You can just set up multiple Decidueyes over the game and say, right, I can get through these walls and volcanoes and stuff like this. And again, it's a lot of the format. Let me tell you, Decidueye still puts in the finest of work. So we don't bother with Obstagoon in this, but we just play 4 Snorlax with the Gourmandise ability. As you end your turn and you have 7 cards in your hand, really good for setting up stage 2. Let's not beat around the bush here. Mimikyu turn off stuff like Mewtwo Mew. It's a super consistent engine. Pretty fun to play. It's not that you'll see me playing, but it's still strong though. Don't get it twisted. Right now, Eternatus is one of those decks where if I really can't be bothered to think a lot, I just play Eternatus. Not to say that it's like a hard deck to play, but there's something about being able to just fill your bench and do damage that really, you know, sits well with me. Basically, the Eternal's ability lets you have 8 dark type Pokemon on your bench. It has to be any dark types. And then you do 30 for each dark type you have in place. So the idea is you just fill our deck with, you know, a multitude of different options and ways to play the deck. So this is just a straight deck where you play the Spiritomb as your backup attackers to deal with Decidueye, stuff like this. One dangerous drill acts as a little bit of disruption, and then some power plants and stuff as well. So yeah, because the deck, you can take Eternatus so many different ways. It's just like a cover yourself in all ways, really. Power plants, it adds a bit of disruption and dangerous drill as well. But a lot of Pokemon, so you can just Jet End for 270 as often as possible. Again, similar to Lucmetal, though, you can take it in a Stamp Plant kind of route as well. So when your first Eternatus VMAX goes down, you can go Stamp Plant, 3 cards in hand, and just be like, lol, hope you can draw out of this. Because you can just respond with a 270, you know, damage Jet End, which is awfully scary, let me tell you. In combination with Marnie's as well to mid-game. Super disruptive, super strong, super scary. That's Stamp Plant Eternatus. Now, if you want to be even more disruptive, you can play Power Plant plus Crushing Hammer plus Absol. We know what Crushing Hammer does by now. Again, when you're swinging for 270 every turn, no fail, discarding your opponent's energy is just so much of an insult, really. Absol also increasing the retreat cost of your opponent's basic Pokemon, making it harder for them to pivot to. It's just not very nice, is it? So that's Eternatus Hammers. But here's probably the quintessential best way to play Eternatus Poison. What this lets you do, Toxtricity lets you put an extra 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon when they're poisoned. So you stack those up. Galarian Slowbro poisons your opponent's active and it's in poisons your opponent's active and it's in the active. And all of a sudden now Dread End's hitting numbers it really shouldn't be. Meaning you also don't have to fill your bench as much to, you know, hit those big scary numbers. Also good for breaking through walls like Decidueye and, you know, all that random stuff like Zamazenta as well. So yeah, Eternatus VMAX Poison. Well, probably the best way to play, not gonna lie. Okay, on to Donphan now. Really cool stage 1 Pokemon. Really efficient attack, 1 for 120 with an Earthquake. But you have to do 20 damage to all your Pokemon, alright? So here's the thing, how can we make that 20 damage sort of impactful and relevant? By having some good backup alternate attackers. Stunfisk for 20 energy does Electric Trap, 30 for each damage, or each one of your Pokemon that has damage counters on, so that can top out like 150. And then you got Galdevoir VMAX, which is really cool. Basically, for each damage counter on this Pokemon, you can put 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way you like. So you can go spread city. And then Galarian Stunfisk is just a bit of a, you know, intermediary attacker. And then you got Donphan, who can also do some scary things as well. So yeah, worth noting though, Panphy is also important with a Strike Back attack, which does for 2 energy, do 30 for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Now, we play Memory Capsule though, so we can attach that to Donphan, and any time our opponent gets a little bit too crazy and leaves too many damage counters on our Donphan, we can just go crazy with a Strike Back attack. Really cool one-prize deck for sure. If you want a slightly more easy to play streamlined version of Donphan though, let's play him with Spiritomb, another easy combo. Spiritomb does 30 for each damage counter on him, with this build and spot attack, which also lets you put 1 damage counter on. So you can build these Spiritombs really scary with Donphan and have a wall of Spiritombs, angry one prizes ready to take some blood. Against ADP, you have turned the tables. So basically, as soon as they AC, you can shuffle them back into deck. Same thing for Lucmetal as well. Really interesting. So yeah, here's another way to play Donphan if you are interested in playing Donphan. Really cool, really scary. Right, so if you're Rillaboom fam, here's an Eggrow deck for you. Eggrow Hammers. Here's the idea. We're going to use Super Growth to basically get our Rillaboom into play ASAP. Put 2 energies onto our Alolan Rowegg, I should say. The 150 damage, heal damage. Build to the Tropical Hour, which you have 6 energy attached. Does 200 damage and shuffles in all your opponent's energy, right? Sounds pretty good. Combine that with some Crushing Hammers. Combine it with a Shaman. Combine that with some Spit Shots occasionally. And some Revenge Blast. You have yourself a pretty good 4 corners kind of deck, which can cover itself in a load of different ways, whilst locking off your opponent's stadium as well. Pretty cool. If you have a more aggressive way to play Rillaboom though, here we go. Similar engine with the Rowegg, you know, and the Rillaboom. But now we have the alternate attacking Rillaboom VMAX, 330 HP Pokemon, which does 280 damage if you discard 3 grass from him. We can only discard up to 3, right? So here's the idea. Rillaboom VMAX is our new interim beat stick, okay? But we also have Zarude for 2 grass when it does 100. You can attach 2 energies from your hand to your Pokemon, and if you do, heal all damage from them. This is insane. This makes your 3 prizes in this deck, right? Rowegg and Rillaboom VMAX virtually indestructible, because not a lot of Pokemon outside of wild decks can hit these big numbers. Super crazy. Gives the deck a whole new edge, and I think it's waiting to be broken and played really at a high level, I'm not going to lie. So if you have the Rillaboom decks and you're a bit of a risky geezer, here's a deck for you, baby. If Pokem's not your thing, but you like electric types, then I got Toxtricity VMAX for you, baby. For 3 energy, you do 240 damage if your opponent's active is poison. So you play Galarian Slowbro to accomplish this. Tapu Koko to get energies in play, and you've got Electrify Bolton just to get some energies into play as well. Super cool, consistent little deck, which it's actually pretty fun to play, not gonna lie to you, and can swing some games and steal some games for sure. So here's my Togikiss deck. So here we go. For 2 energy, max glider is 120, and you can put 2 cards into your hand. So here's the idea. We're a greens deck, first of all. So we're going to use Magnetons to get 3 supporters in our hand, knock ourselves out. The idea is you want to play as many Jesse James in combination with Weezings to get our opponent's hand down to 0, which you can do as early as turn 2, by the way. And then once we've done that, our hand's 0 as well. We just max glide for like a research and energies or something. The idea is you go into Magneton, you search for something like Surge, Jesse James. If you've got a Weezing in your hand, you can play like a Marnie or some stuff. You get your opponent's hand right down. Got the stamps as well, I should say. So you play stamp first, get their hand down to 5. Right, then you go Jesse James, take 2 cards out of their hand. Then go Jesse James again in combination with a Weezing. Now they've got a no card hand. You just go and max glide and bang, you're back off to the races again. Super scary when you pull it off, not gonna lie to you. Now we are going to tackle a lot of Frosmoth decks today. Here's like the most wackiest one in my opinion though. Frosmoth Wailord, a big scary geezer with 280 HP. The only thing holding this card back is its attack. For 4 energy, you flip 3 coins, you do 120 for each head. Now, if you're a bit of a risk taker, if you ever flip 3 head, you basically eject everything from the format out of the way. But you can also flip 3 tails and do no damage. So, is that a risk you're willing to take? Yeah, I've got a Glimmer Tangle to fall back on, so you can re-flip coins if needed. But yeah, it's a pretty fun deck though, nonetheless, not gonna lie. Here is my favourite Frosmoth deck in format, Inteleon VMAX. VMAX Pokemon 320 HP. With 2 attacks, Hydro Snipe. I love 1 energy attacks. You do 60 and put an energy attached from your opponent's active back into their hand. Set them back a little bit. Then you got Max Bullet, which is 160 and 60 to the bench. Now, in combination with long Telescopic Sight, you can now 2-shot stuff like Dene and Crobat, which adds a whole new dimension to this deck, let me tell you. If you haven't played this deck since Vivid Voltage come out, trust me, go back to it. The amount of pressure you can put on with that Max Bullet is insane. Now, if you're after some super bonkers Frosmoth, here we go. Galarian Darmanitan VMAX, 320 HP, with one of the most coolest attacks in format. Basically, for 4 energy, you do 200 damage, and you put 30 on all your opponent's Pokemon, bench Pokemon, right? So, with Telescopic Sight, you now do 60 to your opponent's bench GX or V. And then you've got Alolan Centiskorch GX that acts as a real big cleanup. Spiky Storm, you do 100 to all your opponents' Pokemon that have damage counters on. So you can see Crobat for Denez, even, and it's just gonna die, right? But then you've got Max Watt, just 200 and 2 shots still active as well. Ooh, scary machine gun friend deck, let me tell you. Alright, so next up we've got Mewtwo, one of the more consistent Mewtwo decks, but hard to play. I haven't really played it, but here's the idea, right? We've got electric energies, we've got Mewtwo, so we can start doing stuff like Bolton to get energies into play. We're going to have Aurora energies, so we can start doing stuff like Vileplume GX's attack. You know, it opens up Venom Shot. We have Surf Farfetch to fall back on as well. But we've still got all the cool Pikarom stuff as well, which we will get onto as well. So, again, this is a deck I haven't really played that much of, though. So make sure you check out some other YouTubers and stuff like this if you really want to know, you know, how this deck functions and plays. Because I don't really, not going to lie. Now here is PTCG Radio deck. You guys have attacking Exegil, really cool. So he has 2 attacks. Drill Bazooka 1 for 120. Discard the top 4 cards of your deck. Really efficient, really reminiscent of Donphan. Then you got 11th hour tackle, which is 30 plus 150 if there's 3 or fewer cards in your deck. So 180. We know 180 is a fantastic 2-shot against everything in format. So if we can get to 11th hour tackle really fast, we can really put some pressure on our opponent. How are you gonna do that though? We got Cincino, gonna just, you know, let us discard their, let us draw cards, I should say. We got Oricorio. The Mawile is super clutch against ADP. You can really put down Denez and Crobats, all that good stuff. And outside that, was just a bit of a really consistent disruptive engine with crushing hammers. Got the Island Charm amulet, so our opponent isn't taking multiple prizes on this stuff. And again, we're in a really aggressive 1-prize deck that's really intimidating, let me tell you. Right, next we've got a deck everyone's calling Primal Flygon, but a bit like Primal Groudon from back in the day. Here's the idea. Vibrava has a really cool ability, Obnoxious Whirring. Basically, when your opponent plays a supporter card, you can prevent all effects of that supporter done to this Pokemon. So it can't be bossed, essentially, right? Or Team Yelled. So the idea is, with Snorlax, you can just sort of set up as many of these, as much energy as you like, and dolls as well, I should say. You've got dolls as well. And then basically, when we're ready, we can just evolve into Flygon and just start, you know, taking some prizes. Flygon's a tanky Pokemon, 240 HP, but it takes 30 less of the dusty defense. So you can, like, you know, Flygon back, take some prizes. When that gets KO'd, you go into a Snorlax, get a Vibrava up, attack the energy. It's actually really cool. Note we've got this one-off Flygon as well to act as a Decidueye counter whilst and stuff like this, whilst being super scary to your opponent. Basically, if your opponent has a stadium in play, right, you can discard it, and then you can prevent all damage done to this Pokemon for the next turn. Pretty gnarly. So yeah, Primal Flygon, really cool. Well, next up we've got Gardevoir VMAX. Again, it's a deck that I don't really like, but I know Rare Candy has done a video on this, so make sure you go check them out. But here's the idea. We're going to use a Rotom with the Energy Assist and attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon anyway you like. So here's the idea. We're not going to try and use Rose, even though we have got one. We're going to try and get 3 energies onto our Gardevoir VMAX and turn this Gardevoir VMAX into an unkillable machine. Because for 3 energy, it's 180, good clean 2-shot. But it also heals 50 from this Pokemon, right? That's the idea. So in combination with Suspicious Food Tin, Malolanas, we can try and make our Gardevoir extremely hard to KO whilst 2-shotting everything in format. Now that sounds pretty tasty to me, not gonna lie. Okay, next up we got probably a lot of people's best deck in format, Pikarom. Refuses to die, but Pikarom has changed a little bit. Heavy focus on Bolton, heavy focus on Hammers, and then we have to play the Mewtwo to combat decks like Coalossal. And right, but outside of that, we're still doing the same thing. Full Blitz is a really good early game tempo. Tag Bolt is an insane GX attack if you can pull it off for full value. And then Raichu, I should say, lets you paralyze your opponent. If you can combine that with like a stamp and stuff like this, it's quite hard to recover from. Not gonna lie to you. So yeah, Pikarom, not like an amazingly powerful deck, because there's so many different avenues to victory. Really strong and worth playing for sure. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, there's no reason why you shouldn't be playing the ability version, but if you like me and like playing Greens deck, maybe you want to play the Greens Pikarom. This is just going to let you just tutor out cards that you want every turn. So Power Plants maybe, Great Catcher, Energy Spinner, Stamp, Big Charm. So yeah, and with the greens engine, you know, you can just get them when you want. Now, worth noting, Tapu Koko isn't as much of a death sentence in this as it would be other green decks, because it can just eject itself to the lost zone at any given time. So yeah, here's a green Speedcom list if you're interested. Staying in with the green tech, got ourselves Green Zard. Now this placed recently in the Sunday Open. Here's the idea now. So we got ourselves 4 flare starters. Really good against Decidueye as well. We can pile energies onto our Reshiram Charizard GX, still bulky and still super strong. Or we got ourselves the Break Zard as well, that you search energy cards. And outside that, look at all the trainers and consistency we can play. Got 4 Heat Energy, 2 Big Charm, you know, Stamps, Dolls, a whole host of stuff. So it can be super consistent, Great Potion, Great Catcher. And just there's something to be said for being able to pick out what you want to do. And if you sort of have if you know your way around green decks, be able to just pick exactly what you need at any given time, is pretty strong. So yeah, here's a Welder deck for you. Green's Welder, pretty fun. Alright, so here's Hydreigon box, baby. I tell you, the dark type attacking core hasn't changed a lot, but my lord, it's very scary. So we've got Hydreigon, which actually attach as many dark energies into play as you like. Greninja Zoro just ramps as many dark energies you have in play. Guzzlord takes extra prizes, which is, you know, scary. You know what I mean? Hooper helps you get set up. And then you've also got Mega Sableye T-Type, which also takes extra prizes. 3 prizes on the Dene. And yeah, it's just a little bit scary. Don't forget about the big scary Umbreon Darkrai, which for 6 energy lets you KO anything in format while stopping and playing trainers for the next turn. But here's the super scary thing. With Mewtwo, you can just pick out any of these attacks that you want to do at any given time. It does get a bit rough out there. Now, don't let me confuse you now. It's a stage 2, so it's not the easiest to get in the world to get into play. But when it is, a lot of pressure is being dealt, let me tell you. Dragon box, don't sleep on it. I actually missed off this Frosmoth deck earlier, I apologize. Lapras VMAX actually gaining some popularity recently. Being able to just pile energy onto this Lapras and just big immovable object that can just one-shot anything in format. Super high roll, but if you can get the energy onto this Lapras, it really doesn't care what's in the active. The main thing that scares me though is that lightning weakness and P-Crom seem to be everywhere, but if you can bob and weave that, you're in a decent little spot for sure. So yeah, Lapras VMAX. Right, now I don't like this deck, but I've seen that it placed well at an event once, and I think Azul's covered it as well. Here's a Mad Party list for you. There's a aggressive list that I've seen. It plays Pokeball for Pete's sake. If that's what it needs for Mad Party to be good, then I don't know. That's just how it is. But here's the idea. You put as many Mad Party Pokemon in the discard pile as possible. You can attack with Poltergeist, or you can attack with Bunnelby, and you start doing big damage for 1 attachment on 1 prize. It's super fun. It is a fun deck to play, but you end up just doing like 80 damage a lot of the time. But you know, maybe Pokeballs gets around this, and if you're willing to put the time in, maybe it's worth playing. Here you got Malamar VMAX, one of the more forgotten VMAX Pokemon, let me tell you. But it's still super fun nonetheless. VMAX Pokemon 310 HP with a max jammer attack for 3 energy, do 180 damage. Look at the opponent's hand, get a card from there and put it to the bottom of the deck. So we're just going to try and disrupt our opponent as much as possible. How are we getting these energies in though? We're going to be playing, how are we getting the energies on, I should say. Playing Rose, which actually get 2 energy cards from your discard pile, attach them to one of your VMAX. And then we've got Silver Valley GX just to get our hand back up, letting us draw back up to 5. Super fun. Is it the most competitive? No. Can you cheat some games though? Definitely. Of course you can. Oh my lord. Right, now Morpeko with Longview Scare is actually a deck I want to play because it seems hella fun. Here's the idea. Max Discard is 180, 2 shots everything, whilst doing 20 to all your opponent's bench Pokemon, alright? 20 doesn't sound that great, but 50 does. So you do 50 to all your opponent's bench GX and V Pokemon, whilst 2-shotting their active, whilst hammering off their energy, you know, and you already with electric types, so you know how consistent the electric type core is with Bolton to fall back on. Oh boy, this actually could be a bit of a monster still, and I think Azul actually beat me with this in the OPOP League once, so yeah, it's actually, it used to be a meme, but it actually might be good now, let me tell you. Right, so here you go. Orbital VMAX, baby. Not a card I'm a big fan of. I was before. After playing it, I'm not. But let's have a look. VMAX Pokemon 310 HP with the super cool ability though. Don't get it twisted. It's a really cool card. Eerie Beam, which does 1 damage counter to all your opponent's Pokemon once when it's in the active. So here's the idea. You can sort of switch between them, get multiple of these Eerie Beams off, and then you can finish your turn with the G-Max wave, which does 50 for each energy your opponent has attached. Now, we've got Hammers, so we force them to attach, you know what I mean? We've got Rowlet with the Wind Shard. When you play Berkey, we can do this attack for free, and then basically do 60 each one of your opponent's Pokemon. That's pretty nice. So we've got Gormandai as well to fall back on. So yeah, super strong, super disruptive, and it is pretty fun, don't get me wrong. I just haven't got the patience to play a deck like this, but don't let that put you off. Eerie Beam is eerie cool. Well, this Psychic Mewtwo deck has popped up recently. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it's been doing pretty good, and I see a lot of people playing it. The idea is now we're going to be utilizing a lot of Psychic energies to where you can be doing stuff like Night Watch again, taking cards out of our opponent's hand. You know, we got Poltergeist and Horror House, which is, we want to have strong Horror Houses, stopping our opponent from playing cards, maybe making them draw till they have 7, and then Poltergeist them next time, really punishing them for having that big hand. Jumping Balloon is actually an inclusion I quite like, to be fair. People are playing a lot of GXs and stuff. Venom Shot is now available to us, and a really cool Cosmic Burn as well. So yeah, we've got the Rotom to help accelerate these energies. It's actually a deck that I need to play ASAP, let me tell you. Psychic Mewtwo. Now, this list comes straight from Little Dark Fury. Pikachu VMAX, again, it's a deck that I have to get around to play ASAP Rocky. The idea is VMAX, G-Max Volt Tackle, I should say, 120 plus 150, and you discard all energies from this Pokemon. Sounds costly, right? But you have got Tapu Koko Prism. You've got this Electro Bazap generator that lets you get 2 energy cards and attach them from your deck. So the idea is you got Stamps as well, and it's actually quite a scary attack when it gets going. Tapu Koko to act as a pivot and a 200 damage beat stick as well. So if you like Pikachu VMAX and you pack some, and you don't want to get rid of them, this could be a fun little deck for you, baby. I mean, being able to hit 280 in combination with Vitband and KO and ADP turn 2. Can't go wrong with that, let me tell you. Right, so here's a deck for you brave people out there that like playing Frosmoth. I forgot this one as well. Here's the idea. We're going to get Blastoise and Piplup Jets going as early as possible to accelerate some energies onto our Mewtwo Mew, who is then going to copy the Rocket Splash attack from Blastoise Jets, which is 60 for each water energy that you shuffle back into your decks attached to your Pokemon. And basically, that's an endless damage cap that lets you destroy anything that's in the active. Can be a little bit clunky, but then also worth noting that Splash Maker heals damage as well, so you're pretty tanky too. Frosmoth, lets you just throw as many energies down as you like, and then Keldra is a big strong GX attack as well. Pretty fun. Right, now here's a deck that Omnipoke recently posted and did a video on. So if you want to know much more about this deck, go check them out. But it's Welder box. I like to call it essentially like an opportunist box. Basically, it's a Welder deck where you try and take prizes as and when they can come across the board. So you've got Cramorant to pick off prizes easily. You got Dubwool to act as a late game attacker. You got 2 Volcanion for your Flare starter. You got Reshizards, You got Oricorio, Fiones. It's just a sort of super cheeky Welder deck that sort of hasn't really got a super linear game plan. Outside like Charizard and Smash, but it just sort of reacts what your opponent does and try and take prizes in the most efficient way possible, whilst being a really cool energy accelerator. Pretty cool. Right, now Welder Mewtwo has been creeping back up again in popularity, let me tell you. Here's the idea. We're going to throw as many of these attackers in the bin as possible, so our Mewtwo and Mew can basically use any of them at the same time. So, we still got the big Flare Blitz from the Charizard GX, which is 300 for 4 energy. Clears away with a lot of stuff. Not quite everything, but it's cleared away with a lot of stuff. We still got Goons, so we can, try and get that damage a little bit higher. But we've got so many different attackers, right? We've got Venom Shot, Flare Strike. Victini's really good against Pokemon that have a lot of energy, like Centiskorch, for example, right? So yeah, Vileplume's in here as well. Really cool little deck. Toolboxy that sort of always has the right attack at the right time. Worth noting, Incineroar's Darkest Tornado, if your opponent gets too crazy, can just disrupt anything. I mean everything in format, let me tell you. Okay, here's our last 2 decks, and here's the deck that can give Blacephaleon a run in for the best non-GX decking format. Whimsicott, Flying Fury. For one Psychic, you can discard as many tool cards attached to your Pokemon as you like. You do 40 for each one plus 10. So you can just like, here's the idea with U-turn balls, that's a nice easy 160, right? And then, you know, sometimes you can just reach completely over the top. Lucky Egg lets you drop when you get knocked out. Island Charm Amulet lets you play these GX Pokemon and not give up 2 prizes. Like Lucario, for example. Latios gives you the option to try and stop an auto creation and stuff like this, or Tag Bolt. And again, when you're a one prize, it's just throwing this insane damage out across the board every turn. It can get a little bit out of control. Let me tell you, I have lost the Whimsicott a few times. I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? This little Whimsicott is doing 160. Kind of scary. And then our last deck out here is the Whimsicott GX. Seen a little bit of love recently, so I thought I'd cover it. You got the Porygon Z with the crazy code abilities, where you can throw on 3 CEs, Auroras, captures, recycles, all that good stuff. And basically you do 30 for each energy attached to Whimsicott. But the Fluffy Cotton ability, though, basically when your opponent attacks this Pokemon, they flip a coin. What is it? If heads prevent that damage, you can just stop damage, which is really silly. Worth noting, you've actually got this Whimsicott, which acts as a computer search when you evolve it, which is really cool. So that's a little bit of a consistency boost for your Porygon Z. So let me know what you think of all them decks. Merry Christmas, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you stick around the channel if you have to, deck profiles for these decks or any more Pokemon TCG coverage. Make sure you smash that subscribe button down there. Let me know what decks I missed out on, what decks or what ways you would change the list that I've provided. Remember, they're all in the spreadsheet in the description. Use a copy and paste it on TCG. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.